This year is for Refuah Shalema for Esther Bas Frida. Refuah Shalema for Esther Bas Frida. And Havdil, and Chaim L'chaim, Leila Nishmas, Nisim Shlomo ben Mazel Tov. Your side is today. And it's also Leila Nishmas Esther Leah Bas Zev Wolf. And it's also, of course, to Yaakov HaKohen ben Gedalia Cohen, Avram Yosef ben Yaakov HaKohen, and Pesha Bela Bas Isidora, Tzida ben Chaim Pesach, Yitzchak ben Sarah Devora Bas Yitzchak, Chaim ben Fege Yaakov ben Yitzchak, Mordechai Netzach ben Rivka, Chaim ben Gedalia, Rochel ben Yosef, Eliezer ben Yaakov, Zamalei ben Moshe, Chaim Elio ben Yosef Moshe, Amichai ben Yaakov, Gedalia ben Tzvi Ruvain, Leila Nishmatam. Today we have a double header today, because we read two Parshas this Shabbos. We read Parshas Mishpatim, and we also read Parshas Shkalim, because we bench Chodesh Adar. So therefore we take out two Sefer Torahs, so you have a double Kugel Avi, right? Because there's two Sefer Torahs, two Kugels, Potato and Lakshan, right? First you read Mishpatim, and then you read what? Parshas Kesisa Shkalim. Now it doesn't seem, Rav Nachum, there's any connection. We know there are no coinky dinkies. There has to be some connection between Parshas Mishpatim and what? And Parshas Shkalim. Offhand, Shelley, it looks like it's just thrown together. But we know that there is no such thing. Whatever happens is all by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Let's think. Why does a person have to give a broken shekel, says the Zohar? A machtis a shekel. Right? We're going to give a machtis a shekel. We're going to read the Parsha of Shkalim. Why the month of Adar? So Gemara Megillah says that in the month of Adar, Haman gave Shkalim to Achashverosh as blood money to kill the Jews. So therefore, the Talmud says, let's beat him at his own game. He gave Shkalim in the month of Adar to bribe Achashverosh to kill the Jews. So we're going to give our Shkalim in the month of Adar to neutralize Haman's Shkalim. So therefore, it's the month of Adar when Bezdin would announce, get your shekel ready. But why machtis a shekel? Why a broken shekel? So the Zohar Kodesh says something amazing. We're over 40. We can talk Zohar, Gershom. You're over 40, right? A broken shekel is a symbol of our broken world. You hear this, Yehuda? It's a symbol of our broken world. This world is broken, Rabbi Yaakov. And our tafkid is what? To try to fix it. So God created a broken, imperfect world to give us the schus, the merit, to do tikkun olam. To be God's partner in fixing the broken world. How much God loves us, He left the task to us. Parshas Mishpatim, Shelley, speaks about broken people. It's Miskenim. The whole Parsha is about broken people. The poor, the destitute, the down and out, the homeless, the orphan, the widow, broken people, and the machtas HaShekel represents a broken world. So our tafkid is to help the broken people, Mishpatim. Shelley, I made a tushtel between Mishpatim, it's my chidush, take it or leave it, I think it's a good chidush, and you would like it, you can say it over maybe to Henry, I think he would like that. What's the connection between Shkalim and Mishpatim? Shkalim, the Zohar says, a broken shekel, to symbolize that we live in a broken world. And our tafkid is trying to repair the broken world. Tikkun olam. And Mishpatim is all about broken people. Poverty struck, Oni ve'evyoin, Yosam, the Almana, the whole Parsha is full of Miskenim. That's a symbol of the broken shekel. Our tafkid is to help these broken people. Why did God make them this way? To give me a schus to what? Why did God make a person sick? To give the doctor the schus to heal him. Right? Rapo Yirapo, the Parsha's Mishpatim.
Mishpatim is not always the one connected with Shekalim, though.
No, but whatever it's connected to, we'll have to find a connection. So I found this connection. The broken people, the sick people, the down and out, our tafkid is to what? Help repair them, and that's symbolized by the machtas HaShekel. So I made a connection between Parsha Shkalim, the broken shekel, and the broken people that are found in what? In Parshas Mishpatim. So God made people like that to give me the schus, the opportunity, the merit, Avi, to what? To help them. God makes a person sick to give the doctor the opportunity, the schus, the merit to be God's partner in healing. There's one profession that God calls himself in the Torah. Ani Hashem roifecha. I am God, your MD. Therefore, every mother wants her son to be a doctor. My son the doctor, because it's God's profession. Ani Hashem roifecha.
In Parsha's,
Yeah, let me just finish with Shkol. Right. And another connection or reason of why the Torah speaks about what? The machtis shekel. Why half? Why half? Why not a whole shekel? The Gemara in Kedushin tells us that a person should always look at himself as he's machza zakai or machza chayav. Gemara in Kedushin, page 40. Remember, right, Rabbi Yaakov? A person should always look at himself as he's half righteous and half what? Wicked. If he does one mitzvah, he tips the scale in his favor and the world in favor. He does one avera, himself and the world go down the drain. So the Machzah Shekel Yisrael Baruch reminds us that we are Machzis. We are what? Machzah Zakai, how do you say it in English? Half righteous and half what? Wicked. So we're in the balance, so therefore we have to what? Always do one more mitzvah. One more mitzvah will tip the scale in our favor, in the world's favor, and Chas v'Sholom one avera goes the other way. So that's another reason, Evelyn, of the Machzis HaShekel, that all of us are Machzis, right? We're incomplete, right? Without another person, what are we, right? A Jew on his own, no matter how much righteous he is, if he doesn't connect with another Jew, then he is what? Only half. He's only half. It's amazing. The Baal Shem Tov says something amazing. God's name in the Siddur Yud is written two Yuds. I think Miriam would like this word. If you look in the Siddur, God's name is written two Yud Yud. You ever notice that, Golda? You ever wonder why? Why is God's name two Yuds? No? Says the Baal Shem Tov. When two Yidalech are together, that's where God is. A Yiddah alone, you won't find God. When two Yudin, two Yidalech, are together, Dr. Hackett, that's where you find Hashem. And therefore God's name is written with two Yuds in the Siddur. That's the Baal Shem Tov's beautiful word. So we found the connection now between the broken shekel and the broken people in Mishpatim, the Miskenim. Now, if you take a look at the books, you have blue books there. At the beginning of Parshat Mishpatim, Shemot 21:1. Shemot 21:1. Ve'ela ha-mishpatim asher tosim lifneihem. You have that Gershon, the book in front of you. Now, again, the Parsha speaks about miserable people, widows, orphans, down and out, people that suffer and are miserable. Why do they deserve that? Says the Zohar something incredible. What does the word mishpat mean? Justice. God's justice works for reincarnation. If people are miskenim and suffering in this world, and who's more righteous than a child? It's God's mishpat, because it means that a person that suffers in this world, he is a Gilgal. How do you say that in English? Recycled soul. God's in the recycling business. Okay? So therefore, the Almana, the Yasam, the Ani, the Evyon, and the Evet Ivri, a slave, says the Zoya, has sold Gilgule HaNishamo Tikon HaNefesh. God's mishpat works for reincarnation, and every person gets what they're fixed. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. The Tikun HaNefesh. So God's mishpat works through what? Through reincarnation. We cannot understand that. And the Parsha opens up very strange about an Evet Ivri Yisrael Baruch. You would think right after the Ten Commandments, you would open up with Shabbos, Yom Kippur, Kosher. No, it opens up with a guy, a ganif, who steals, and he can't pay back, so we sell him as a slave. That's what you have to open up with Parshas Mishpatim. I mean, very strange. You just heard the Ten Commandments. Why don't you open up with something more exalted? This is a thief who can't pay what he stole, so Bezin sells him into slavery. That's on the Torah's mind right after the Ten Commandments. You don't think it's a little bit bizarre?
I heard it more just because of slavery, the limits of slavery.
Okay. But why you open up with that? Right? So Yehuda made a good point. The Ramban says the Ten Commandments open up. I'm Hashem your God who took you out of Egypt, the house of slavery. So be kind to your slave. You know what it's like to be a slave, right? So therefore be kind to your slave. But that's good. 1 down, 69 to go. But there's another idea of why the Torah opens up with what? With the Parsha of slavery. Again, this is a Jewish person who stole, and he can't pay back what he stole. He gets sold into slavery. The Torah says, Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. God says, you are my children, right, Masha? A father has many children, but he has one son that's a ganef. The rest of the guys sit in the koilel, right? And he has one son that's a ganef. Who does the beloved parent focus on? The ganef. He's my flesh and blood. The koilel guys can take care of themselves, right? But that my flesh and blood, he's a ganef or whatever he is. So the kol machshava shel ha'abba v'ima doeg ala ben haganav lifter habaya shelo. What am I going to do with my son, the ganef? This is God's child, he's a thief. So he needs a tikkun. So a kind master will buy him to rehabilitate him, Rabbi Yaakov Sina. Yeda Mezek Kodesh Baruch Hu is our loving father. If a Jew is not beseder, the Kodesh Baruch Hu focuses on that child that's not beseder. That's the way it is. So God's machshava kavayochel is to find a tikkun, a solution to this son, that my child that's a ganef, that's off the derech. Find a tikkun for him. And the Talmud says, whoever buys an Eved Ivri is like he buys what? A master for himself. And amazing, this guy is a ganef. It's an act of great chesed for the Adon to buy him. Because the Talmud Kedushin says, if you buy an Eved Ivri, it's like you buy a master for yourself. You have to treat him what? Better than yourself.
Like getting married.
Right? Like getting married, right? If you have one pillow, who gets it? The Eved Ivri. Strange. If you're eating sardines, you give him sardines. But if you're eating filet mignon, he has to eat filet mignon with you. You can't give him sardines if you're eating filet mignon. So the Torah is trying to find a solution for this Jew that's off the derech. Kill him with kindness. Killing me with kindness. So Kodesh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol focuses on this child of his that's not beseder. I have to find a solution for him. So right after the Ten Commandments, Avi, we open up what? With a ganef, an Eved Ivri that's a ganef. A kind person should buy him and take care of him and treat him with loving kindness. And this way he'll become, Avi, rehabilitated. Rejuvenated. Rejuvenated. Interesting, right? So therefore the Torah opens up with that Parsha. With the Eved Ivri. With the Eved Ivri. And then the Torah tells us in Shemot 21, verse 13, someone kills somebody on purpose, he gets executed. 21:13, Exodus 21:13, if you didn't plan it, God made it happen. What do you mean God made it happen? You killed somebody by accident. Why is that called God made it happen? Because we know that there are no accidents. People can lo yaleinu die through an accident, but never by accident. Evelyn, is that right? People lo yaleinu die through an accident, but never by accident. What looks like an accident is what? A Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Torah says clearly, how to translate that? Exodus 21:13? He didn't plan it. God made it happen, right?
God causes to come into his hand.
That what?
That
accidental homicide. It looks like an accident, but actually there are no accidents. Whatever happens, it's all part of the divine plan, even though we don't understand it. We don't understand it. And the Baal Shem Tov points to this pasuk to prove Gilgal. This person got up in the morning, he didn't plan to kill somebody, right? He lost control of the car, this guy ran in the middle of the street, he didn't see him. Baal Shem Tov says, this pasuk proves Gilgal, that these two people have unfinished business from a previous Gilgal. Elisheva, Abraham Berkowitz, it ain't over till it's over. Can you tell him it ain't over till it's over? He's behind you. It ain't over till it's over. It looks like he killed an innocent victim. He didn't know him from Adam. He lost control of the car, right? He didn't mean to. He checked the brakes yesterday, and all of a sudden he lost control, and this guy ran in the middle of the street. He didn't know him. So the Zohar says, Baal Shem Tov quotes the Zohar, that this is a clear pasuk, that these two people have unfinished business from a previous lifetime. In fact, says the Baal Shem Tov, any person that you meet in this world, Shelley, we've met before. Deja vu. And the Baal Shem Tov says, any person you meet in this world, Yiddish Elisheva, we've met before. It's deja vu all over again. We're here to help each other do our tikkun, whether we know it or not. Just interacting with each other, Dr. Hackett. We are helping each other do our tikkun. It's all part of God's plan. We're playing chess with the Grandmaster, Avi. So you ever play chess with a Grandmaster, Avi? So even though you're moving independently, but the Grandmaster controls the game. Now, the very strange pasuk, Yudah, Shemot 21, 16 and 17. Keep in mind, Masha, when the two psukim in the Torah next door, Elisheva, it has to be a very strong connection. Shemot 21, 16 and 17, Yehuda. Kidnapping. Someone kidnaps and sells you, it's a capital punishment. The very next pasuk, cursing a parent. What in the world does kidnapping have to do with cursing a parent? Of Yaakov Sinai, have in mind your father, moving up his neshama. Two psukim in the Torah next door, we know they have to be what? Related. Strongly related. What does kidnapping have to do with cursing a parent? They're both capital offenses. Is that the only reason why they're next door? Please hear me well. This is my chidush, Yehuda, take it or leave it. Many Baal Teshuvos are very angry at their parents. You kidnapped my heritage from me. You sent me to a public school. You gave me to eat non-kosher food. You kidnapped my body and my soul by bringing me up in a secular lifestyle. So many Baal Teshuvos are angry, and they perhaps want to curse their parents for kidnapping their body and their soul. So the Torah warns us, even though your parents did kidnap your heritage, you still owe them honor and respect. And you're not allowed to curse them, and you must treat them as a child treats a parent, regardless of how they brought you up.
Applies to mothers too.
And there is, no, of course, it applies to mothers too, right? I know many Baal Teshuvos are very angry. Fine, but you have to give them respect, and you're not allowed to curse them. It's a capital punishment, and therefore the Torah puts them what? Rabbi Yaakov Sinai, hear my chidush, take it or leave it. Ata yochal limkor et zeh. Okay, I think it's a chidush. Now the Torah speaks about someone beats up somebody, he has to pay v'rapo yerapeh. He has to pay the doctor bills. V'rapo yerapeh. If you damage someone, right, you have to pay him nezek, tsar, ripu, shevet, boshes. Doctor bills, pain, suffering, loss of work. And if you ain't got, Bezin will sell you into slavery to pay off the debt. Now, why is it written twice? V'rapo yerapeh. Cure him, he must cure him. So the Rambam, who was a doctor, asked a question, devil's advocate. Who makes a person sick? God. So how am I allowed to heal him? Aren't I going against God's will? The J witnesses will not call a doctor, Dr. Hackett. They won't call you. They say, you know, God made the person sick. So how am I allowed to, the Seventh-day Adventist, Slicha. No. Christian Scientist. Slicha, thank you for correcting me. Nothing happens without God, right? God controls the world. We just read it. God made it happen. So who made the person sick? Exodus 21:13 says God makes everything happen. So who made the person sick, Dr. Hackett? Hashem. So the Rambam says, how can I be a doctor? Aren't I going against what? God's will? No, says the Rambam. Why did God make that person sick? to give me the opportunity and the merit to be his partner in healing that person. So God brings suffering to the world. Again, we said God made a broken world to give me and you and me, the merit to fix it in any way that we can. If you're not a doctor, then there's other ways. Smiling on somebody when he's having a bad hair day. Right? You're doing your little bit to repair the broken world with a shmeichel. Some people can't smile, they're like constipated. It doesn't cost any money. But a doctor is God's partner. Right? God says, be my partner to repair, to cure this person. God doesn't want puppets, he wants partners. So he makes a broken world. Yes?
This isn't exactly what you're talking about, parallel.
Yes?
Some years ago, I visited Lieutenant Birnbaum. You've heard of him?
Sure. Lieutenant Birnbaum, I met him. Yes.
Anyway, because he was a Mahut and a very good friends of mine.
Right.
And it was in the middle of the winter, it was a horrible day, and very cold, and he offered me some nice delicious vegetable soup.
Right.
When I was about to leave, I thanked him. So he said, it's not you should thank me, I should thank you for giving me the opportunity to be
Nahon.
I've never forgotten that.
Well, we know where that came from? From the book of Ruth. It's not too early to talk about Shavuos. They're already advertising for Shavuos. I'm not sure. I couldn't believe it. The Torah Tidbits are already advertising Shavuos programs. I mean, so it's not too early to talk. Dr. Hackett's point is well taken. In the book of Ruth, Ruth comes home with all of this grain. Right? Remember she went shopping by Boaz? Like a chick champeh, she comes home with a bonanza. So Naomi asked her, who did this great chesed for you? So you know what she says? You read the English, you won't get it. You read the Hebrew. Amazing why the English plays around. But the Hebrew says, the man that I did chesed for him, his name is Boaz. So Naomi said, listen, girl, take a pill and lie down. It's been in the sun too long, right? I asked you, who did this great chesed for you, gave you all of this food? So she said, the man that I did chesed for him, the Hebrew says that. Remind me to show you the Hebrew before Shavuos. The man that I did chesed for him, his name is what? Boaz. Say what? So the Talmud mentions your point. Who did for whom? The grain, the food that Boaz gave Ruth will be consumed in a short while. Gone with the wind. But the merit, the chesed, the mitzvah that Boaz has, that's for him eternity. So like Dr. Hackett said, you do a chesed for somebody, right? You do a chesed for somebody. You give tzedakah, you give a meal. So that's eaten up, gone with the wind. But the guy who gave it, he has that mitzvah for eternity. So Ruth was right. The man that I did chesed for him, eternal chesed, his name is Boaz, right? So you give someone a check for tzedakah, what should you say? Thank you for taking it. Thank you for taking it. Elisheva, that's what you say that.
Yeah, I do.
You're a smart lady. You're a righteous lady. You say thank you for taking. You're righteous what?
You taught it.
It's amazing, Ruth. You're like Ruth. Ruth, amazing idea. How Judaism looks at what? As acts of chesed, as acts of kindness, right? It's just amazing how Yahadut. Now, if you go to Exodus, Shemot 22:30, V'anshe kodesh tiyunli, you should be a holy nation to me. Don't eat what? Frank Perdue chickens.
What?
That's what it says. Remember Frank Perdue? He looked like one of his chickens. Shemot 22:30 says, be a holy people to me. Don't eat non-kosher food. Reb Nachum, does it say that in my text? No, yours? Shemot 22:30.
You shall not eat flesh and
No, start from the beginning. Anshe Kodesh.
People of holiness shall you be to me, and you shall not eat flesh of an animal that was torn in the field, so to the dog shall you.
So what does A got to do with B? So Rashi says...
A, B, and C here.
A, B, and C. So Rashi says, one way to attain Kedusha is by eating kosher. You are what you eat. Reb Nachum, the Torah teaches you are what you eat. If you eat a kosher diet, you attain Kedusha. And if you eat lo yaleinu non-kosher, you contaminate your godly soul. The Torah teaches, Rabbi Yaakov, you are what you eat. So by eating kosher, by not eating what? Treifa meat, you become a holy people. Did you know that? But of course it's much deeper than that. Look at the Hebrew Yehuda. V'anshe kodesh tiyunli. Says the Heilige Kotzker Rebbe, Rabbi Yaakov. Yesh chamalim kor. It's good to be holy, but make sure you're a mensch first. Anshe kodesh. Before you want to be holy, make sure you're a mensch. Derech eretz, Evelyn. You know better than anybody. Evelyn, derech eretz. What good is your Torah study if you're not a mensch, if you have no menschlichkeit, decency? V'anshe, that comes. Masha, can you give it over in my name? Not my, Kotzker Rebbe, not my name. V'anshe, first be a mensch, then you can be kodesh. But if you want to be holy and you're not a mensch, God says, who needs your kedusha? It's a chil Hashem. So what should you do with your treifa food? What should you do with it? Give it to Fido, right? Give it to your dog. Why? So Rashi quotes Chazal, because when we left Egypt, right? Now there's a plague raging. The firstborn was dropping dead. When there's a plague, the dogs go crazy, right? They panic, you know, they sense death in the air. They bark like crazy. But they didn't bark when we left Egypt. They didn't frighten us. No Jewish woman got frightened, got miscarried. So because the dogs didn't bark at us at the Exodus, so therefore God says, I'm going to reward the dog and give them what? The treifa meat. The dog knows that his great-great-grandpappy didn't bark when I left Egypt, right? The dog knows that. Could the dog care less? What is Rashi saying? God does not hold back the reward of any creature. The dogs didn't frighten us, so now we are makir toiv to Fido, and we give him the Alpo dog food. Rabbi Yaakov Sina, what's the message of? So Rabbeinu Bechai says, it's not for the dog. Dog couldn't care less, he doesn't care, doesn't know anything. Yisrael Baruch, in order to perfect my neshama for eternity, I must express gratitude even to a dog. Not for the dog's sake. My tikkun hanefesh, the shleimut hanefesh of me, needs to express gratitude for my sake, not for the dog's sake. It's a powerful lesson. We must express gratitude. Not for the other person, even if he doesn't care. My neshama needs it, Avi. Hakora tatov. So the anshe, to be a mensch, the derech eretz comes before what? Before Kodesh. Now, if you look at Shmos 23:5, it's just incredible. The Torah says in Shmos 23:5, if you see the donkey of your enemy breaking under the load, make sure that you help him, right? So the Talmud Bava Metzia says, let's say your best friend and your worst enemy, Rachmiel, both need help. Who should you help first?
Your best friend.
No!
No, you wouldn't tell them.
You have to help your enemy, right? The Torah lives in the real world, you know. Some Jews don't get along, you know, bad neighbors or whatever. Torah lives in the real world. You're not allowed to have a Jewish enemy, but the Torah is not Ivy Tyros. The Torah lives in the real world. So the Gemara Bava Metzia says if your best friend and your worst enemy need help, you're supposed to help your enemy. Because you're kovish yetzer hara. Oh, let him suffer. Let him suffer. No. Eze gibor, kovish yitzoi. So by helping your enemy, we're talking about a Jew, not Abu Mamzer. We're not talking about a Abu Mamzer. We're talking about a Yiddish enemy. Right? Even though you're not supposed to, but the Torah, again, acknowledges the real world. So by helping your Jewish enemy, you are kovish yetzer hara. Therefore, he comes first. But it's deeper than that. Please fasten your seatbelts for this. Shemos 23:5. Are you looking inside? Azov Tazov. Onkelos says in Pasuk Hey, Mishbak Tishbok Ma Delibach Alohu. Azov Tazov. The word Azov means what? we have in the book of Bereshis, Al ken yazov ish et oviv et imo. A person should leave his parents and attach himself to his wife. So the word ozov, which the English translates help. No? To translate help? Yudah said trail. Huh?
Help, yes.
But no, the word ozov means to leave. Al ken yazov, Onkelos translates, mishbach tishboch. What's in your heart on him? What a powerful pasuk. Before Sigmund Freud. Onkelos lived before Sigmund Freud. If you hate somebody, how do you abandon the hatred? Onkelos says, leave the hatred. You hate him in your heart. You know how you get rid of the hatred? By helping him. Wow. That's human nature. When you help somebody, you grow fond of him. So how do you get rid of the hatred that you have in your heart on him, for whatever reason? By helping him, says Onkelos, you are letting go of the hatred in your heart. That's human nature. Why do parents love their kids so much? Because they're constantly giving to them. So if you give to the person, your hatred will what? Dissipate. And Onkelos says that. So the word ozov means you abandon the hatred in your heart on your enemy by dafke helping him before you help your friend. So it's therapeutic, Dr. Hackett. You're a doctor, you know. It's therapeutic. That's human nature. Wow. Pretty incredible. There's so many mitzvahs over here. Non-stop. Non-stop of mitzvot. And the Torah tells us, the Torah mentions the laws of Shemitah next to the laws of Shabbat. Now the laws of Shabbat were already stated in the Ten Commandments. So why does Shemot 23, Pasuk 10 and 11 speak about Shemitah, and then right after that it speaks about Shabbat again? Why put the laws of Shabbat, which were already mentioned in Ten Commandments, next to the laws of Shemitah? What's the kesher to Shabbat? What? What more? Seems to right? So Rashi wonders. Rashi says the sabbatical year, the whole year is called Shabbat. So I might think that the weekly Shabbat is suspended when if the whole year is called Shabbat. Shemitah, the whole year is called Shabbat. So perhaps the weekly Shabbat doesn't have to kick in. So the Torah has to repeat, Masha, that even if the whole year is a sabbatical, the weekly Shabbat still has to be kept. Even though the whole year is called Shabbat, the Shemitah year, but that doesn't cancel the weekly Shabbat. But there's, of course, a deeper explanation. Just like Shabbat is holier than all days of the week, can you compare Wednesday to Shabbat? No. So just like Shabbat is the holiest day of the week, Eretz Yisrael is the holiest place on planet Earth. Amen. Shabbat and Shemitah. Shabbat is the holiest day, can't compare it to the rest of the week. And Eretz Yisrael, the laws of Shemitah, not in Borough Park, right, Evelyn? Not even Manhattan Beach. You can't keep the laws of Shemitah even in Manhattan Beach, right? So just like Shabbat is the holiest day, Eretz Yisrael, Shemitah, Eretz Yisrael is the holiest place on planet Earth, even holier than Lakewood. Rabbi Yaakov, right? Even holier than Lakewood.
Really? No. Until after Lakewood.
What?
They come here and learn. Then they go back there. That's right. Keep it on that side. She'll be okay. They come here to learn, and then they go back. That's true.
Now, it's very strange. Look at Shemot 24:1. Shemot 24:1. And to Moshe, God said, come up to the mountain. Now remember, last week's Parsha, God spoke to the Ten Commandments. So why is this Parsha written, Shemot 24:1? Rashi says, this Parsha, which is written here, actually belongs where? In Yitro. Ein mukdam mucha b'Torah. What does that mean? Why is the Torah mixing me up, Avi? I'm mixed up over here. Exodus 24:1, God says, come up to me and I'll give you the Torah. That actually belongs in Parshas Yisro, right? When God spoke the Ten Commandments. Why is it Yehuda delayed and taken out of sequence and written over here?
Oral Torah.
Excellent question.
Right? Okay, Torah is not written chronological order, Elisheva, but that begs the question, why? You have to fasten your seatbelts for this. Says the great Rav Soloveitchik. You want to come up to God. Exodus 24:1. First, you have to learn the laws of Mishpatim. How to treat broken people. Miskenim. To show kindness to the miserable. To the what? The poverty-struck. The people that are suffering. Once you've learned that in the beginning of Mishpatim, now you're ready to come up to God. Holy Rav Soloveitchik. Other religions, you want to go up to God, you shut yourself off in a monastery and you contemplate your navel all day. But Judaism, no. First you have to show kindness to Nebuch, these people that, how do you say miskenim in English? Miskenim. What? Pathetic people. Unfortunate people. Show them kindness. Interact with them. Once you've done that, now you're ready for going up to God, but not before.
We're looking like a Mother Teresa.
But not before. A Mother Teresa, she goes up to God. Doesn't matter what religion she is. She was a holy woman.
Absolutely.
Very holy woman. Because she knew how to get up to God. Not to sit in the monastery, but to help and interact with the most unfortunate people. That's the way you come up to God. So therefore, Master, this Parsha is delayed. It doesn't belong here. It's written here. But first, for Eila Mishpatim, how to treat the ger, the yatam, the almana, the down and out, the orphan, the widow, the afflicted. Once you've learned that, now you're ready to come up to God, but not before.
Moses did as an example when he went out to the Egyptians and looked about his brothers. Moses was the example.
Aren't you glad you came today?
Yes.
You're moving up, you're doing Kibbutz, Hachamei of Esrim. Moving on up. He's moving up the soul of Nisim Shlomo ben Mazel Tov. Kibbutz after 120. It's Yotzai today. He brought goodies. Now, many people, you see the movie, The Book is Better. That God only spoke the Ten Commandments, that's all, right? But you can't trust the movie, The Book is Better. You look at Exodus 24, verse 12. God says to Moshe, come up to me to the mountain, and I'll give you the tablets of stone and the Torah and all the mitzvot that I have written to teach them. So it's not just talking about the tablets of stone. Exodus 24:12. God says to Moses, come on up, not come on down. Remember, come on up, and I'll give you not just the luchot or even, not just the tablets of stone. I'll give you the whole Torah and all of the mitzvot, which I have written, God says. Lahorotam. 613, but actually 620 letters in the Ten Commandments. Remember we spoke about it? 613 for us and 7 for what? For the Noachites. Keep the 7, go to heaven. Even the Noachide mitzvahs are also given at Sinai. So there's an extra 7 letters in the Ten Commandments. Each letter corresponds to a mitzvah. Rabbeinu Sadia Gaon, Rashi says, Rabbeinu Sadia Gaon, he figured out how each letter of the Ten Commandments corresponds to what? To a mitzvah. Wow. Now, lahorotam. Look at the word lahorotam, Yehuda. If you don't write this down, I'll be disappointed. How do you say disappointed in English? Which I have written lahorotam. You see that then, lahorotam, they say to teach, right? Lahorotam is what teach. Exodus 24:12, which I have written to what?
So even just and the teaching. And the teaching, it says.
Lahorotam, and their teaching, right?
And the teaching.
The Talmud, the Bracha says that refers to the Talmud, the Gemara. It's written Chasar Vav. Lahorotam Yehuda, there should be a vav next to the resh. You see the word lahorotam, Golda? Reb Nachum? Lahorotam.
Yes.
There should be a vav after the resh.
Resh.
Did Moses run out of ink?
Maybe.
No. Why did God tell holy Moses to write the word lahorotam chaser vav? You're sitting down for this, right, Evelyn? The word lahorotam without a vav. How do you say pregnant in Hebrew? Hara. In biblical Hebrew. Muberet, but also the word hara. Hey, resh, hey. Hey, resh, hey, right? Expert English speaker. Hara means pregnant. So Reb Shamsul Full-Hirsch says the reason the word lahorotam is lacking a vav because the shoresh without the vav is the word pregnant, hara. The Torah is pregnant with meaning. And the Torah gives birth to all new problems. IVF, DNA, who's the halachic mother. You won't find that in the written Torah. That's lahorotam. That's in the Talmud. The Torah is like pregnant with meaning, always giving birth to new principles for new problems. Avi, DNA. Can DNA determine a mamzer? The father says, this child is not mine. My wife had an affair. And the DNA shows that it's not his DNA. Is the child a mamzer? According to halacha, you need two people. She went to Motel 6 with somebody else. There's no witnesses. Does halacha recognize DNA or the IVF if the egg donor is Jewish and the birth mother is what? Not, or the opposite? Who's the halachic mother? The egg donor or the birth mother? You won't find that in the written Torah. You'll find that in the Talmud, which is pregnant with meaning. Pregnant, lahorotam, chasavav Yehuda. You can ask Miriam Ilana, she knows Hebrew. Hara is biblical Hebrew for pregnant. And therefore the word is written chasavav to give me the shoresh hara. Pregnant with meaning.
New meanings?
New meanings for new problems. Right? In 9/11, there were many bodies that were incinerated. Two witnesses that the husband is dead. There's no witnesses. So Rav Yosef and other Gedolim, they went with the DNA. They found the DNA of the dead husband among the rubble. And they were matter to the wives not to be in a guna. You won't find that in the written Torah. That's lahorotam. That's pretty interesting. Now you get probably to the strangest psukim, in my humble opinion, in the Torah. Shemot 24, Yehuda, 10:11. Very strange. Shemot 24, 10:11. The Jews are on top of the mountain and they see the God of Israel. And what do they see there? Lishab, you don't have a book. Masha, you see what they see there? They see the God of Israel, and what does it say, Yehuda?
Under his feet.
Under whose feet?
Under his feet, with a capital H, was the likeness of a sapphire brickwork, and it was like the essence of the heaven and purity.
What does that mean? We know God is Ein Loi de Musaguf. Goldie, you sing that? God is not physical. What do you mean the Jews had a mystical vision and they saw underneath God's feet, so to speak, what? A brickwork. And what does it mean? Mikimia, you with me? We know Animam and God is not physical. But God sometimes appears to prophets in a physical form in order to inculcate, I like that word, a message. God is not physical. But human beings, in order to what? Inculcate, they need to see a tangible physical image. So God loves us so much that Kavayochel, sometimes he projects himself, Evelyn, in a physical image in order for us to relate to him, to demonstrate who loves you, baby. So Rashi says something incredible. Why did God show them this image? that he has bricks next to his feet, Kavayochel. So Rashi says something incredible. Rashi says that the bricks were there to demonstrate that God was in the slime pits of the Jews making bricks. I'm there with you in Auschwitz, in the slime pits, in the brick fields, that God suffers along with his people. And then it says the essence of what? Of heaven for beauty? What does it say that?
The essence of the heaven in purity.
Now what does that mean? It says Rashi, when the Jewish people were redeemed, God felt what? Kavayochel, all pure. That the message, why God allowed himself to project the physical image, which God doesn't have it, to inculcate and demonstrate how much he loves us. That when we suffer, he suffers with us. And when we are redeemed and joyful, he rejoices with us. Avi, a parent, if the child suffers, doesn't the parent suffer? And when the child rejoices, doesn't the parent rejoice? That's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's our parent. So to demonstrate this idea, he allowed himself to be seen in a physical image, even though God doesn't have any physical image, but again to demonstrate how much he loves us. When we suffer, he suffers with us, and when we rejoice, he what, Gershom? He rejoices with us. That's pretty incredible. So what happened over here, 11, in 24:11? Anybody have that?
Against the great,
What?
against the great men of the children of Israel, he did not stretch out his hand. They gazed at God, yet they ate and
They gazed at God and they what? Manja manja. But what's going on? What's going on? Says the great Ramban. From here you learn out. When you finish a tractate, you make a party. The Jews just got the Torah. So they made a Sudat Mitzvah. Vayochlu vayishtu. They saw God. But that's incredible. How the physical and the spiritual in Judaism, how they interact. It's incredible, Masha. They saw God and yet they ate and they drank. They celebrated Kabbalah Haftorah, says the great Nachmanides. The beauty of Judaism. You can take an animalistic act like eating and drinking and what? Make it holy all the way up to God. Only a Jew can do that. I eat and an animal eats. But look what a Jew can do with food. He can bring it all the way up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wow, the awesome power of a Jew to sanctify the most mundane act of eating and drinking. Mr. Ed and Elsie the cow also eat and drink. Remember Elsie the cow and Mr. Ed? I'm dating myself. But look what a Jew can do with such a mundane, animalistic act. He can bring it up to Hashem. And that's the idea of Purim. We can talk, it's not too early. Dr. Peter Hakim, Purim is coming, right? Yom Kippurim. A day like Purim, says the Ari. A day like Purim? Yom Kippur is a day like Purim. How could that be, Evelyn? Seems to be totally opposite days. So the Riyah Kodesh says, what's the connection between Yom Kippurim? The Torah never calls it Yom Kippur, that's Yiddish. The Day of Atonement is called Yom Kippurim, a day like Purim. How could Yom Kippur be a day like Purim? Seems to be totally opposite days, says the Holy Ari. You're sitting down. How do you serve God on Yom Kippur?
Fasting.
By fasting, abstaining, you're serving God with your soul. That's great. How do you serve God on Purim? By feasting, by indulging your body. What's more difficult? It's more difficult to serve God by feasting than fasting. When you're fasting, you're abstaining, you're cutting yourself off from the world. You're being like an angel. But on Purim, you are indulging your physical pleasures. And yet you remain a Jew. You're higher than Malachim.
I never had any problem with
You're higher than Malachim. Yom Kippurim. By sanctifying eating and drinking, you can rise above Yom Kippur. Did you know that? By sanctifying the mundane, by sanctifying the secular, you can rise above Yom Kippurim. Purim. That's what the Jews did over here. They elevated the physical eating and drinking in Avodas Hashem. Yes?
You see, with Yom Kippur and Purim, on Purim you have Tavis Esther. The day before Purim you fast, and on Purim itself you feast.
And Yom Kippur is the opposite.
Exactly.
Right? Very good, right? On Yom Kippur, the day before Yom Kippur, manja, and Yom Kippur you fast. Purim, the opposite. The day before you fast, and then manja. So the Rizkot says you can elevate your neshama by indulging your guf if you do it l'shem shemayim. That's more difficult. To indulge your physical pleasure and elevate it to Hashem is more difficult than what? Than serving God with only your soul. Because the human being is made up of what? Body and soul. So a human being is higher than a malach. Because we sanctify not just our soul. A malach only has a soul. We sanctify our body too, Yisrael Baruch. It's a twofer. Body and soul, 2 against 1. So this is the idea. The Jews had a mystical vision of God, and they celebrated with a Sudat Mitzvah, says the Holy Ramban. And this is the source for making a Sudah when you finish a tractate. Kabbalah Satorah. And that's one of the real reasons you have a Sudah on Purim. We forget Purim was a Kabbalah Satorah, remember? The Jews got the Torah again willingly, so that's why you feast on Purim. Remember, at Har Sinai it was a shotgun wedding, right? But at Purim, Kimu v'Kiblu, the Jewish people received the Torah again. This time, not being forced. So therefore, the Ramban says, therefore there's a mitzvah to have a Suda on Purim. Because you're celebrating, Evelyn, what? A new Kabbalah Satorah. Right? When the neshama is celebrating, the guf says, what am I, chopped liver? So by having chopped liver, the guf also participates, Masha, in the main event. Therefore, all Jewish rituals revolve around what? Eating. They tried to kill us, we won. Manja. Right? A bris, a finishing a masechta, right? Kiddush Pidyon Aben. There's a tremendous amount of Kiddush in the air. From the event, from the Yom Tov, the Shabbos, the bris, the Pidyon Aben, the finishing of masechta, tremendous amount of Kiddush in the air. Remember that song? Kiddush is in the air, da 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 da. It's being absorbed by what? By the soul. But the body says, what am I? Chopped liver? I also want to participate. But Rebbe Rapam said, it's called spiritual osmosis. When you eat and drink on Shabbos and Yom Tov, or when you finish a Masechta, or Pidyon Aben, or Chasana, you are passing the Kedusha of the event from the Neshama to what? To the Guf. How? Manja. Avi, it's called spiritual osmosis. This way the Guf, the body, also gets to participate and gets her high. By eating and drinking, the neshama passes the kedusha from her to her soulmate, the body and the soul. You can't have one without the other. Thank you. On Sunday we have a good shiur at 2 o'clock. Don't go yet. It's called Matan Torah, spiritual coercion. Not spiritual, religious coercion. Slicha. Didn't God hold the mountain over our heads, Evelyn? Yes. That's called religious coercion. Isn't that against the law? How could God do that? God put the mountain over our heads. Is that religious coercion? Sunday at 2. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.